Why hello to all those lovely friends of mine out there on the interwebs who love miniatures and miniature painting. I'm Docky Young. It's a Monday, and I'm here to ramble. Today it's Monday the 3rd of July 2023, and I have a bit more to ramble about. See, I've picked up the pace. I have completed 12 models, 4 from Reaper, 8 from Heresy. So these from Reaper are all rather simple robotic creatures. I paint them sort of a golden bronze instead of iron or steel, because I thought I needed some variety in my robots, not just pure iron or steel. And then we have all these sort of modern day / near future / cyberpunk / sci-fi fighting people. And these are not the most carefully painted models I've ever done, because I didn't think the sculpts and the scale called for it. These are rather small. They're barely, I'm not sure, they're not old 25mm, but they're definitely 28mm, they're not heroic scale, they're kind of true scale, which means there is, the detail that is there is extremely fine and hard to catch with paint. So I painted them bright colors to make them stand out instead. So they're all kind of Technicolor, and I think it works. But you'll see them closer up in the still shots at the end. You can form your own opinion. So, with all that accomplished, what is there left to do? Well, let's move on to the painting desk. The rest of the robots are in the works. You can see there's some metallic paint on them, though oddly, when I look at it very closely now, I can see that I've missed some spots. So this is intended to be an undercoat of a very deep brass sort of color, and I'm gonna paint them mostly bronze with some iron parts or steel parts, but I'm gonna have to go back and cover some parts better, or maybe I'll just leave it for the next layer of dry brush and call it good. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, these won't take much time. So what else am I working on? And finally, I have, as regards to works in progress at least, I've prepped these minor elementals and these two bike riders. And as I mentioned, I assembled them fully. They have strange poses, like this one is sort of standing up. I'm not sure. Maybe it's supposed to be that she's rearing the bike up, and that was supposed to be off the ground, and only the toes were supposed to be touching the ground. But that's a very unstable way to base it. This one is also sort of unstable. She's standing on one foot. It's pinned, of course, into the base. But since the bike is resin, and the figure, though it is metal, is very slight, very thin, it's okay. I think it's gonna hold. The idea is probably like she's turning and using her foot to do it, or maybe she's just parking or getting off from parking and just pushing off with the foot, and the bike is hovering. Well, you can think about it in different ways. And in both cases, there is some space between the bike and the bodies, so I can get in there and sort of paint the different areas, though, especially in this case, the front of her body is going to be very dark because it's completely in shadow. And yeah, you get the picture. We'll get started on these. So starting from the bottom of my new second closet of shame, we find mostly Malifaux miniatures, and so I'm gonna catalog these two boxes today. These are relatively small boxes, and they apparently I've organized them by factions. So these contain mostly Arcanists. This is the Ramos set, and Rail Golem, and various other mechanical items like, well, Joss is sort of mechanical. There's a brass racket and so forth. This one is also other Arcanists. This one has the Karis set with the Malicious, and this is not Arcanist. This is Guild, of course, but I think everything else is Arcanists. This was just in here to fill up space. So there's 15 in this box, 14 in the other box. So 29 Malifaux figures in total. We're adding to the inventory. Good. But for new projects to start, we're not going with Malifaux just yet. We're continuing on with sort of with the sci-fi theme. I have this recent little box of stuff from Hassle-Free, which contains a few sci-fi movies like Drax here, but there's also a fantasy dwarf. There's Dirk the Daring and his princess. There's a fantasy warrior. So it's mostly two modern day or sci-fi guys, and the rest are actually fantasy. Well, that'll do. It might be nice to get back to the fantasy vibe for a while, but I have, don't worry, I have more sci-fi and or modern day figures lined up for future projects. Anyway, I think I'm going to start cleaning up these and basing them and so forth, and we'll see how far I get by next week. So please join me then. But first, click like on this video, subscribe if you haven't done so, comment, share, and all that stuff. But then also be back here next week, same day of the week, same channel, same Dakian, who's now signing off.